Christmas episode was an intersection of a couple of factors. My boss, Jeff Gaspin, who was briefly the head of NBC, liked Community and said, yeah, they should do an animated episode, which is the kind of thing you never hear from a suit. So it kind of like really spun that, like, he's the boss, you know, and the truth was, I mean, I've always wanted to do something like this. I just never thought we'd get the opportunity in the second season.
And this is the most important Christmas in the history of the universe. I'm assuming that's why we're all stop-motion animated.
I vote we let it go.
Dino Stamatopoulos, who plays Starburns, who's an old friend of mine, a mentor. He has a few stop animated shows on Adult Swim, and he's a big fan of the medium of stop animation. So as soon as I mentioned animation to him, he said stop animation. As soon as he said stop animation, I thought Christmas.
I need to find the meaning of Christmas.
Well,
If I can find the meaning of Christmas, everything will go back to normal.
My immediate headline was, let's make a sad Christmas episode. It's probably a generational thing, but when I was growing up, Christmas was, the whole point of it was sadness, the stillness and the melancholy, the bittersweetness. Charles Schulz, you know, he had to fight a really, really hard battle to make a sad Christmas special with his beloved Peanuts characters. To me, that's a staple, but for him, it was revolutionary. I didn't know it was going to be about Abed yet. That was the writers, we brainstormed that within a few hours. But I knew it had to be cold and sad and lonely and have music in it. The other really difficult thing about this medium is they record the audio and then they animate to the audio. So every syllable, every letter of the script is baked as soon as you finish your final draft, and in this case, the final draft was the first draft.
you all know how Magic Christmas Journeys work.
You are playing with so much fire.
Shut up, winger. Hands on the table.
I love voiceovers. Like, I just love the idea of the challenge of creating a character with just your voice.
We went in very early in the season and recorded all the dialogue because, you know, they needed such a long lead time to animate it.
It was the easiest episode we did as actors.
We sat around and did and read it.
For me, it was pretty painless. I don't know about the claymation part. If they wanted me to do that, it would have been the worst episode of Community ever, because it would just have been, there wouldn't be any stop motion, it would just be piles of clay and you'd see my hands a lot.
Well, the episode was inspired by classic stop-motion animation Christmas specials. And also there's a little Willy Wonka, a little Wizard of Oz, and of course, Community.
You can't just take a Steven Spielberg and put him in front of a stop motion set and go like, well, you're gifted visually, so this will be fine for you. I mean, there's a technical aspect to all this stuff, obviously, that a director needs to bring to bear. He needs to get the medium. Duke is somebody that's directed more than a few episodes of Dino's shows, Moral Oral, and Mary Shelley's Frankenhole on Adult Swim. He's a friend of Dino's and a stop motion director. So Duke was the natural choice.
There's something special about stop motion because you're making these inanimate objects come to life. It's different than other animation because other animation, it doesn't exist in real time and space. And you can sense that when you see it. It's just kind of magical, you know? And there's a reason people haven't been doing a lot of stop motion for many years. It's a very complicated medium, you know, puppets and sets and animators, and there's a lot of elements coming together. Well, first we did like the character designs. That was our initial first step to get everybody kind of excited about what the puppets might look like and what the characters of the actors would be. And then I started just breaking down the script, coming up with the shots, working with the storyboard artist, putting together the storyboards, and then we started cutting the animatic.
Oof, all right, where are we? Christmas train?
You know, if you're not familiar with animation, an animatic is like a pre-visualization process where you basically animate the storyboards with the audio and the voices that act as a guideline for you when you animate. You basically animate like shot for shot exactly like it is in the animatic. It's sort of like editing before it's shot.
If I can find the meaning of Christmas, everything will go back to normal.
Asterisk.
Abed,
The dean says if you don't get help, they might kick you out of school.
Why would I want to be in a school that hates Christmas?
That's basically our guideline for all the departments, production designer, cinematographer. That's how we know what the shot is. That's how we know what's part of the set we need to build, what we're going to see. It's all there in the animatic.
This needs to be the best Christmas, it's the original. 20,000 years from now, we'll say the most successful Christmas was today.
Okay, we got him. We got him. He's down. The people making the costumes and the dolls and the sets, before the first draft was even finished, had to know things like, well, there's going to be a scene in the study room. There's going to be like a sort of a winter wonderland with a train track. There's going to be because they have to get started on the sets and dolls as soon as possible.
I'm Liz Beebe. I'm associate producing the Christmas special, and you're here in our set shop at Cinnabar. So this is the room that they're painting all of our sky backdrops. This will be the background for the quad sky. And then once they transfer into the Winter Wonderland fantastical world, the sunset sky is going to be Gumdrop Road. And then this huge table is going to be the exterior of the quad. So you can see that they've done all the brick and they started painting that today. These guys over here are attaching vines to the walls of Carroll Canyon and making some flowers that are going to go sort of crawling up those walls and down onto the canyon floor.
Hi, my name is Brett Moore. I'm making some trees for the quad. I have so many of these to glue on. Let's see, I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've done like 8 today. So probably about half an hour, 45 minutes for each one. You kind of got to zen out and just kind of enjoy it and have fun with it.
When you're going into a fantasy world, when you're going into animation, you have the opportunity to really go into a completely different reality. And so for me, I like the idea that there aren't any straight edges, that everything has a little bit of movement, that the colors are not, they're not all primary colors. They've got a lot of depth. They have some sophistication to them, because it's a very witty, sophisticated show. And so I really wanted to mirror that and make sure that the vision still stays clear to what they're trying to do. I think there's always challenges when you build stop-motion animation sets, especially when they're large expanses of landscape. We've got all this snow, getting everything to scale so it looks right in perspective.
The puppets, which by the way are the most expensive thing about doing stop motion, because they need to be they're these fully articulated little Terminators, and they cost roughly like 8 to 10 grand a piece to make those. And sometimes you have to make multiple of each character.
It was delightful to actually bring a show that I actually knew. I knew the characters, I knew the whole setup to life. It's daunting just because there's about 55 puppets that had to be made in about 4.5 weeks. That was something that is always a challenge, but we're used to that.
The puppets were great. They were basically hard sculpted heads, and they had these eyes that were movable, and basically their eyelids and their eyebrows were clay, so those were animatable. And then their mouths were replacement mouths, so each puppet had approximately 16 different mouths.
I'm Justin Hilden, the puppet fabrication supervisor. We're making 50+ puppets. Each character has its own multiples and puppets because we have to make multiples of the same puppet for different stages at different times. The heads are made out of hollow plastic that was sculpted and then cast to make a hollow, lightweight plastic so it isn't too heavy for the animators. And those just sit on the head, for animation and get different expressions,
Oh my God, look at us. It's beautiful. Oh, look at you.
We're dolls.
Look at Chevy.
Chevy's
Teddy Pierce. Look at Teddy Pierce. He's perfect.